Welcome back. As you know, I'm Eli the Computer Guy over here for the Daily Blob, where we say we have always been at war with Oceania. Wait a minute. No, I'm sorry. We have never been at war with Oceania. Wait a minute. Aren't we Oceania? Why would we be at war or not at war with ourselves? Because I thought Oceania was Australia. Man, I'm getting so confused anymore. And so anyways, when you're confused, remember, there is one truth in this world. China man is bad. China man is bad, and he has your money in his pocket. Anyways, this is I don't know, right? Here in the United States, we have this whole anti-China thing. We feel that the Chinese civilization has gotten as far as we're comfortable with, and so they need to stop. And so we have things like AI diffusion rules and all of this stuff to try to kneecap the Chinese civilization. Because that's gonna work. Apparently my glorious leaders think that's gonna work. Well, the thing is, like, one minute we're trying to kneecap their civilization, and the next minute we're not. And it just gets so confusing. And this is one of my issues with these policies, right? It's just, I don't even think our politicians know what the hell's going on. So anyways, the latest thing is Nvidia is gearing up to sell even more AI GPUs to China. Because they can do that now. I don't understand, right? Under the Biden administration, there's things called the AI diffusion rules, where he was trying to prevent, China from buying our AI quality GPUs. Under Biden, they came out with a level of GPUs that could not be sold to China. So basically they said, GPUs of above this specification can't be sold to China. So Nvidia, right, Jensen Huang, looked at the numbers, went, okay, it's illegal to sell stuff above this level. So they basically created GPUs that were slightly below that level and decided to sell those to China. And then the Biden administration quite literally came out and publicly said, we see what you're doing, which is very confusing. Did the Biden administration see that Nvidia was following the law? Like, that's very threatening. So Nvidia sees what the law is, they abide by the law, and then Biden's like, I see what you're doing. And you're like, that's very threatening for a company that's actually following the idiotic law that you put into place. Anyways, right, we got that out of Biden, and then we have Trump in there, and Trump is, I don't know, he's doing whatever the hell Trump is doing. And so there was a thing put in place, April, May, or whatever. Basically, any sales of any kind of AI products to China had to go through this whole export control process because, right, China man bad. And now that seems to be getting rolled back because of magnets. I don't know. So exclusive, what is this coming from? Reuters? Exclusive from Reuters. Nvidia orders 300,000 H20 chips from TSMC due to robust China demand, sources say. Oh, so the country you're not supposed to be selling GPUs to has a robust demand for GPUs, and so you're going to produce at least 300,000 more of them. Because that makes sense in 2022. Nvidia placed orders for 300,000 H20 chipsets with contract manufacturer TSMC last week, two sources said, with one of them adding that strong Chinese demand had led to the U.S. firm to change its mind about just relying on its existing stockpile. The Trump administration this month allowed Nvidia to resume sales of H20 graphics processing units to China, reversing an effective ban imposed in April, so just in April, designed to keep advanced AI chips out of Chinese hands due to national security concerns. Right? China getting access to GPUs is an existential threat to the United States. Until it's not. Until it's not. Because these policies, I want you to know, these policies are 100% logical and completely make sense. Nvidia developed the H20 specifically for the Chinese market after U.S. export restrictions on its other AI chipsets were imposed in late 2023. So again, that's under the Biden administration. The H20 does not have as much computing power as Nvidia's H100 or its new Blackwell series sold in markets outside China. The new orders with Taiwan's TSMC would add to existing inventory of 600,000 to 700,000 H20 chips. So they already have 600,000 to 700,000. This would bring them to about 1 million of these particular GPUs. According to sources who were not authorized to speak, for comparison purposes, Nvidia sold around 1 million H20 chips in 2024, according to U.S. research firm SemiAnalysis. So let's see here. The Trump administration said the resumption of H20 sales was part of negotiations with China over rare earth magnets. So apparently we're selling them AI stuff so we can get their rare earth magnets. There you go. We'll give you AI so you can destroy us, and you give us rare earth magnets so we can destroy you. Sure. The decision drew bipartisan condemnation from U.S. legislators who are worried that giving China access to the H20 will impede U.S. efforts to maintain its lead in AI technology, because our senile old bastard politicians believe that we can maintain our lead in AI technology. But Nvidia and others argue that it is important to retain Chinese interest in its chips, which work with Nvidia's software tools, so that developers do not completely switch over to offerings from rivals like Huawei. Before the April ban, Chinese technology giants, including Tencent, ByteDance, and Alibaba, substantially increased H20 orders as they deployed DeepSeek's cost-effective AI models, as well as their own models. So there's the H20 GPU. Basically, it is not the latest and greatest Blackwell GPUs, but one of the questions we have to ask is, what problem is China trying to solve for? Right? I've talked about that in the past when we talk about AI, like AI, right? The politicians come out and they talk about AI because they don't know what the hell they're talking about, right? AI is just kind of a catch-all phrase that catches a whole bunch of crap that has nothing to do with anything, right? When you think about AI systems, right, there's AI training. So if you're going to create a computer vision model, if you're going to create one of these LLMs, all that kind of stuff, there is the training of that model. You take a ridiculous amount of data, you put in configurations, you hit the go button, and then you literally might wait a week for one of these models to get created. Basically, what's happening with these neural networks is the data is getting put in basically the top end of it. It's getting thrown through the neural network. Takes a hell of a lot of resources. You get the output on the other side. It determines whether the output that it gets is the output that it's expecting. That's why it's doing the training. If it is, then it's okay. If not, it kind of reconfigures things until it gets to the point where it's getting the output that it's expecting. Multiply that by billions of parameters, and that's what you get with training, right? So training requires a tremendous amount of resources for these models. On the other hand, there's something called inference, right? Inference is where you actually use the model in a system to determine things, right? Computer vision, whatever else. This is a person. This is a head. This is words or whatever else. That's inference. As I've talked about before, there are many chip companies coming out on the market. There is Grok, G-R-O-Q. I think that they're the ones. Literally, they're specializing just in inference. So you already have the model trained. You want to push the model into production. You would use these inference systems. They require a significantly less amount of resources. So one of the things you need to be thinking about with this whole thing of we need to prevent China from getting our AI, what are we actually worried about? Are we worried about them training models, or are we worried about them using models? Right? That's a real question there. And then when we start talking about AI, as I've said many times before, there's much more to artificial intelligence than even these models. And so there's a whole big question there. And so what's weird with this is that we're trying 1 minute we're trying to prevent them from getting the AI stuff. The next minute we're specifically selling them the AI stuff. We're not really defining what it is we're trying to stop them from doing, right? Oh no, Eli, they can't get our artificial intelligence. What if their hypersonic missile can create a ballad in the strain of William Shakespeare? We cannot have their hypersonic missiles quoting William Shakespeare, Eli. Like, yeah, I don't, I mean, not really sure how that affects any of us, to be honest with you. It seems like a waste of resources, but okay. Right? But that's the thing. Like, do you honestly believe their hypersonic missiles need the latest, right, Blackwell Nvidia architecture in order to make something go boom? Right? What is the military concern there? And I think that's one of the things we do not see out of our government officials is an actual explanation of what they're trying to prevent. And so since we don't have an explanation of what they're trying to prevent, then we just have this continued idiocy. One minute we're gonna ban China, the next minute we're gonna open up to China, the next minute we're gonna do something else because buzzwords. So anyways, this seems to be the latest thing. Why this is probably interesting for China, they do need GPUs. If they can buy these GPUs at market price, that makes a lot of sense. They are building their own GPUs. I've done many videos talking about this. We have Huawei, we have other companies building GPUs. The other thing with Nvidia is they have their CUDA system, which apparently is amazing. That is really what their mode is. It's not necessarily GPU hardware. It's CUDA, and so if they can buy 1 million GPUs and use CUDA, that might be able to solve the types of problems that they're trying to solve. And so it makes sense. It makes sense at this point in time that China would purchase the GPUs that they're able to purchase at the exact same time they're finding their exit ramp, so they don't have to deal with any of us insane crackers anymore. So yeah, there you go. So what do you think about this? What do you think about us always being in war with Oceania, unless we've never been at war with Oceania? Unless we are Oceania, are we Oceania? I get confused. I thought Oceania was New Zealand and Australia. I don't know. I just don't know anymore. Anyways, put your thoughts down below. Give us a thumbs up, give us a thumbs down, give us an amazing comment, give us a god-awful comment. Remember, it's the modern world of YouTube. All that matters is that interaction. Call me a moron! Not in your mind, not screaming at the screen. Call me a moron down in the comment section. Come on now. Anyways, do remember Silicon Dojo, silicondojo.com. We do fireside chats talking with real technology professionals. We have a co-founder and CTO of an integrations company. He's going to be coming on the fireside chat next week. So we're going to be talking about how their experience with trying to integrate artificial intelligence into their systems and how well that went. So that should be a good conversation. Basically, go to silicondojo.com. You become a member. You can sign up for the Zoom session and you can ask questions during that Zoom session. The week after that, we are going to be having the VP for AI models for IBM. He's going to be on the show so we can learn more about models and we can learn about what it is IBM is doing in the AI space. So that stuff is coming up on silicondojo.com. So that's all I got. See y'all later.